Wagwan, are you there? What's good? And you know who this is, baby. The #1 podcast in America, dedicated to all you kings and queens of color, homies and homettes, shotters, woo gals, G-boys, and chargies. The one and only Jerk Jollof and Collard Greens podcast.
Wagwan, are you there? What's good? And welcome to episode 21 of the Jerk Jollof and Collard Greens podcast. I'm your host, Glenn, aka G Ransom, and that's right, y'all. Season 3 of the world's most cultured podcast has arrived, and we've got 10 brand new episodes lined up, starting with today's season premiere. Y'all wildin' for that one. And on today's episode, the Fearless Five, also known as the JJC panel, will share their perspectives, personal experiences, and honest opinions on some of this year's kind of need to know and latest happenings in American society and culture. So yes, we're definitely spilling some tea today. We're going to talk about some of the latest happenings going on in social media, you know, the Crate Challenge, Hood Olympics, all that. So you usually don't get to hear our views or perspectives on current events happening in the world. So we figured, why not bless y'all with this first episode to do so? We'll also address questions from our followers and reveal exactly what it is we do during our hiatus period, and other details you probably didn't know and surely wouldn't want to miss about the world's most cultured podcast. But before we delve any further, if you aren't already a follower or perhaps tuning in for the first time and would like to learn more about the show, then definitely check us out on Instagram at Jerk Jollof Collard Pod, where you can stay up to date on our latest happenings, offerings, announcements, and join the JJC community. Now, if you know anything about this show, you know that we are the diaspora's #1 panel podcast. And I attribute that honor to my brothers in bond. So without further delay, I'd like to introduce first our originator, got more degrees than Swiss cheese has holes, Niger's own D Black D Ron.
What's good? What's good, everybody?
And I mean that. Every time I talk to this guy, he's writing a dissertation, a thesis, or something. Every time. And I've known this guy for a long time.
Hey, man, hopefully I can write something relevant, so.
We're trusting that you will. Next, we have our co-host, BBA, representing the red, white, and blue, the nation's own, Chunky.
What's up, motherfuckers?
Exactly. And just in case you know what BBA stands for, that's Big Black and Angry.
Oh, okay. I was like Big Black and Athletic, Big Black and
It's not BBC.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Trying to keep it G-rated there. Trying to keep it G-rated.
Next, that will come at a later episode.
Exactly. Next, we have the filler of holes, aka the plug. Probably the most awkward way to say it, and eyes of the social media on behalf of the pod, and probably WizKid's cousin, Francis, aka the franchise.
Yo, what's up, y'all? What's good? And WizKid might be my cousin. That's real. If you don't know, we share the same last name, but I'm not sure, but you might be.
I'm putting it out there. I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful. I'm waiting for my flight to Nigeria. You know what I mean?
Man, you can just ask my cousin about that one.
And next up, our
WizKid?
Yeah.
that cousin.
No. Glenn said he's waiting for a ticket to Nigeria, so exactly. I'm saying he should talk to you about that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm good.
Big baller.
I know, right? Sitting on that Bitcoin.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Damn, y'all put me out like that.
You can buy all of us flights right now.
Yo.
All right, next up, our in-house creative, half Olika, half amazing godfather of the Wepa, Dre P.
I haven't heard Wepa in a long time. Shout out to all the Puerto Ricans out there.
You gotta come back to the East Coast, bro.
Gotta come back. Some fresh tostones and all that good stuff.
Exactly. And last but not least, of course, myself, Glenn, aka your favorite yardie humble extrovert representing NYNJ and your host today. You can find me on Instagram at G_ransom. Promote yourself and grow your wealth. And let's jump into it. So before we jump into our discussion, we'd like to dedicate this episode's Rep Yours to Brandy McAllister of Pray the Impossible, And she's so dope. She actually decided to hop on the pod. She accepted our invitation to hop on the pod and actually explain a little bit about what Pray the Impossible is and some of her upcoming events and activities going on. And just in case, Brandy, correct me if I'm wrong. Brandy, you're a CSC, certified spiritual coach, CLC, certified life coach, probably got more degrees than D Black, more the certifications than him. And, you're also an author of Real Talk, Conversation from My Heart to Yours, a 30-day devotional, and My Way or God's Will, The Choice is Yours. So, just tell us a little bit about Pray the Impossible, how to find you and what exactly it is.
Absolutely. Once again, thank you guys for having me. It is a pleasure to be on this podcast with you. So thank you guys. And so, like Glenn mentioned, my name is Brandy, and I have coined myself the spiritual friend visor of Pray the Impossible. And that is a friend who gives advice based on godly wisdom. And I always drop gems, which are God-enthused messages spoken from my heart, to uplift, to encourage, and to inspire an individual on their spiritual journey. And so Pray the Impossible is a faith-based service company where we uplift, inspire, and encourage you. Also, like I mentioned, I have 2 books. So I use these 2 books, Real Talk, A Conversation from My Heart to Yours, which is a 30-day devotional, as well as My Way or God's Will, The Choice is Yours, as tools and skills and just words of encouragement to help my clients and also just to help people. My motto is impacting lives one conversation at a time. And I just think that the world since 2020, it's never going to be the same. And I think more than ever, we need something to believe in. Whatever you believe in, I'm just here to encourage you, to tell you to have faith. And that's basically what Pray the Impossible is all about. Believe the impossible, do the impossible. Like, anything is possible if you believe, right? And I think sometimes we just always believe the negative things in life, right? And so I'm here to just say, no, believe the impossible, and then just watch God show up and make the impossible possible in your life.
And that definitely has a nice ring to it. So I could imagine, definitely within the last year, I think it's something that we all sleep on. And I think, it's a gift from coronavirus is that need for well-being and wellness, and understanding that it's more than just physical, but it's also, mental and possibly spiritual as well.
Absolutely.
And getting your full diet of wellness that includes the spiritual aspect. So
absolutely.
So can you tell us exactly how to find out more about your services? I believe you have the website.
Yeah, absolutely. So my website is praytheimpossible.com. Every Tuesday, make sure to subscribe to the website, to the newsletter. Every Tuesday, I drop gems. And that's just basically a weekly inspiration. I come up with a topic, and then I have like key points just to get you through the week. You can follow me on Instagram, Pray the Impossible. And that's also my handle on Facebook. On Twitter, it's @Blessed by Brandy. And what else? I think, that's it. That's all the social media handles that I have for Pray the Impossible.
And I understand that you also have an event coming up, just in case people actually want to see you in person and see you in action. They can actually do that this year.
Yes. So my upcoming event is under my nonprofit, which my nonprofit is called Blessed by Brandy Incorporated. And it's a 501c3 nonprofit. And the mission is to motivate individuals to pray the impossible, believe the impossible, and do the impossible through testimonies, godly wisdom, and words of encouragement. We host events, open forums, panel discussions, and provide services that are geared towards spirituality, mental health, physical health, and wellness to enrich one's life. So under my nonprofit, Blessed by Brandy, I have my upcoming first fundraiser, which is Fall for the Possible. It's a Kentucky Derby fundraiser. And like I mentioned earlier, it's about just empowering and encouraging you to just fall for the possibility that anything is possible. So if you want to write a book, if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to start a podcast, whatever idea or goal or vision that you have, fall for the possibility that it can happen. Fall for the possibility that you can reach your goal, that you can achieve those dreams. And so the Kentucky Derby theme is, with COVID, there are some people who have not had the opportunity to dress up, to come out. And so, I kind of wanted to put a twist on it. The tickets, it's a donation. It's $75, but with the donation, it's food, live music. I have a DJ. There's going to be activity, networking, and most importantly, your name will go into the drawing to be one of 3 people to receive a service. So I partnered with Pray the Impossible, my company, as well as the Den and Bloom and Groom Wellness Lounge and Spa. And so the Den is offering a 10-week physical training program. So if you live in the tri-state area, if you win, you can meet with him in person, or if not, he has an app. Bloom and Groom is offering a 6-month facial and massage wellness package. And then Pray the Impossible is offering an 8-week life and spiritual coaching program. So when you purchase your ticket, your name will automatically go into the drawing. So you can be one of the 3 people to get either one of those services. I always say God blesses us so that we can be a blessing to others. And you have just been blessed by Brandy. And with my nonprofit, it's about blessing the people who are right in front of you. You know, some people have organizations where they want to donate to, you know, maybe the Red Cross or all of these other ones. But for me, it's the people who are right here. We need those services as well, right? We need mental health. We need spirituality. We need physical and wellness. And that's what Blessed by Brandy is all about. It's just being a blessing to those in your life, to those around you and in your community. And so that event is on September 12th. You can go on Eventbrite to purchase the ticket. And my nonprofit Instagram is at blessed_by_Brandy with an I_INC. And you can also find me on Facebook, Blessed by Brandy.
Yeah, and thank you for those gems. You know, I heard that you mentioned the podcasting angle. So, you know, in the event you ever need 5 aficionados to lend their insight on how to, you know, best run your podcast, you know, definitely feel free to reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to, you know, lend our services to that cause. But, you know, definitely big thank you for everything that you're doing for the community. Don't mind the fellas are a little starstruck right now, but
no, you are. Yeah, I mean, she's definitely killing it out there. So just keep killing it. Keep doing what you're doing. I love the community work. Yeah. So.
Yeah, we'll make sure to drop all the links in the bios to make it really easy for people just to kind of click. And appreciate you joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
All right, thanks, Brandy.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
They posted next Monday. We'll be dropping more info as well on how to reach Brandy and get in touch with the event on our Instagram page, Church Aloft College Pod. Brandy, thank you again.
Thank you.
Now, without further ado, let's chop, fellas.
Glenn, I'm gonna have to do this to you because you did this to Dre. Did you ever hop in them DMs?
No, he did that to me. He did that to me. Thank you.
That's what I say. He did that to you.
Yeah.
So
My Rayo and Honey. No,
Yeah.
I did not hop in the DMs. Thank you very much.
I had to do that to you because you did that to one of the boys.
Yo, you know what? Spade is spade, fair is fair. You know what I mean? I'll take it. I'll take that. I give it. I'll take it. I'll give it.
Exactly.
It's quite fun.
Okay.
All right, so we choosing violence this season.
I know. You got the tea,
It looks like I rubbed off.
You got the tea, y'all. Nah, you just angry.
It took 2 seasons.
Oh man.
Angry behind the scenes, angry behind the scenes.
Oh man, I think Francis is coming for the title of angriest black man on the show, man. I like it.
I mean, he can try.
No, I can never. I don't want the title. Actually.
Get demolished.
No, that's all you.
Oh no, no. I wanted you to go for it. I wanted to battle, but you know, I'll get it out of you.
We got the right setup for y'all. Don't worry. Don't worry. So as we promised, we're going to start it off with a question from our followers. And this one actually goes out. This actually comes from The Real Fit Honey. Thank you, Bae, for the question. And that is, what was your biggest failure and what did you learn from it? I'm going to start off with the person that has spoken the least so far, and that's D Black.
Oh, God.
A question from our follower. What was your biggest failure?
Looking at me in my soul, bro.
What did you learn from it? Let's go. Let's hop right into it.
So my biggest failure, probably not starting a podcast sooner, to be honest. You know, I think it's in life, we always kind of have ambitions and things we want to do. And we always kind of say, oh, I'm going to do that eventually, or make plans for something, and we don't do it. So I'm glad I was able to actually start, but I really wish I could have got on this a little bit sooner, because it's been super impactful. Really made a difference for me in my life, and being able to fellowship with my fellow compatriots on a regular basis like this has been super therapeutic. So I really wish I could have done this a little bit sooner.
So you mean you tell me you missed out on all this stress and all this work? You wanted all this work, you wanted all this smoke?
Well, I'm African, so we ain't afraid of a little bit of hard work, bro.
Boy, that part too. Yes.
Yo, podcasting is work, and we'll get into it after this as far as some of the things that we do on our end as well to make it run. And I think everybody will find out that you got to kind of run the podcast that you're able to run. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, so
true.
Is just getting in there, just doing it is the first step, and then from there going on forward. I definitely hear you on that, bro. So let's go ahead and knock it over to Dre. I know this is like a topic most men don't want to talk about, right? Like, don't fail at anything, no weakness, all strength, no weakness. But what was your biggest failure, Dre, and what did you learn from it?
I mean, this one is kind of borderline superficial, but we got express words that we have to give a real answer. I'm gonna give a peek behind the curtain. Glenn explicitly said, don't give any, you will be called out. So I wanted to make sure I was prepared for this one. Exactly. And really the first thing that came to my mind, and again, I know that this may sound a little superficial, but speaking to the learning aspect, I thought it was good to mention. But in 2011, a good friend of mine told me about Bitcoin, told me to put money in Bitcoin. And I told him what all these crazy people are saying now about how it was stupid, it's funny money, it's da da da. And back in 2011, I had a lot more disposable income that I probably could have just that I wasted on other things. That is one thing that kind of hurts me quite a bit when I think about how differently maybe my life would have been, right? Who's to say for certain if I would have sold it in 2015, right? I would have got scared or whatever. But that's the one thing that I can easily look at and be like, man, I like to daydream about how different my life would maybe be. Maybe we would be doing this podcast from my house that I would just have built in Manhattan, maybe be in some penthouse in Manhattan, and I would just fly you guys in every week to do the podcast, and then to just have you separately going your helicopters or private planes back home. So that's the one thing. But I guess the one thing,
that would be nice.
Yeah, I think the one thing that I think I've learned from that experience, and hopefully I've corrected with other crypto purchases more recently, is just kind of not just immediately discounting something that someone tells you, right? So trying to do the research. I'm sure if I would have really asked him, it would have been a little bit more inquisitive, how could this work? He was someone who kind of really kind of got it as soon as it came out. And even a lot of those years after 2011, he told me about it, that I also kind of made really stupid comments that would be funny if I had recorded to listen to this day. But I think that was probably the biggest learning thing for me, is just kind of when someone does come to me with, hey, you should look into this thing, to not immediately kind of have my own preconceived notions of it, to learn about it. And but I assure you that will never happen again. I'm definitely whenever
buying everything now.
Yeah, or just learning more about it, right?
You bought tons of Ethereum.
Yeah, somebody's telling me about NFTs. Somebody's telling me about NFTs. I bought a couple of NFTs. My one friend told me about NBA Top Shot. I got a couple of NBA Top Shot moments, right? Which may be worth nothing, but maybe in 10 years, maybe it'll be worth a bunch. So that's probably the biggest takeaway I have.
You ain't gonna catch Dre lacking ever again, bro.
Not gonna catch me lacking at all. No, sir.
Bro, I feel you on that. It's kind of like, that fear of missing out is one thing, and then never getting involved is another. So it's kind of like balancing that fine line. It's just like, you got 9-year-olds right now mining Bitcoin, making like $32,000 a month. It's insane.
Bro, it's crazy. No, it's Dre, I feel like you were in my brain and you took that answer from me, because Like I legit was on that tip. It's not really maybe Bitcoin specific, it was more investing.
Yeah.
You know, because I just wish I kind of got into gain more interest in investing space a lot earlier than I did, you know, especially in 2011. I remember, I wish I know what I know now back then, because my mom she told me I should get a property at the time. But I was so like right after college, and I was like, no, I want to just live with my buddy and we just gonna hang out. But at the time, I didn't realize what the housing market was like. And one of my buddies that actually did buy the house, I'm looking back like, man, I'm kicking myself. I wish I bought the house, because you build so much equity over time that you don't realize, you know, and that's definitely one of mine. Because I did, you know, I went to a loan officer at the time in 2011, to be exact as well. And she told me like, you were right there. Then my mom told me later, like, I could have co-signed for you. And I was like, no, you told me. Oh man. But so that's, you know, that's one of those moments that I was like, man, I wish I definitely regret it. But one thing I did learn from that is it's never too late. You know, it's never too late. You know, you may have missed out on some opportunity, but it's always new opportunities that come up. So that's kind of pretty much what I learned.
All right, so now we're going to give Francis 5 minutes just in case he decides to change his mind.
Are you done, Glenn?
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, go on, Chunks.
Tag team, man.
I would say, I don't know. Biggest failure was not applying to the SEC school for football. I doubted my talent, and I listened to other people that said it wasn't good enough, and I kind of missed an opportunity to play somewhere else. But what I learned from it is just that always put everything on the table. So whether it be education, athletics, anything that you've learned, what's the point of doing all the things that you're doing to play it safe? Advantages to taking risks, because if you're trying to get a big reward, you can't play it safe. You can't lean back on it and say, well, if it'll come, it'll come. Sometimes you have to put your neck out, and it may get chopped off. You may feel bad, but other times you will succeed. And that's what leads to greatness. So I learned from it, everything that I've done, everything that I've accumulated, just do it. Pretty much. I mean, if you fail, you fail. That's the key to success. So that's what I learned.
And, you know, I definitely have to hop in on that bandwagon there as well. I would say, like, you know, my biggest failure, I would say, is just really not taking enough chances. And I think that's what's kind of like the underlying theme or motif here, is just opening yourself up to chances. It's just, you know, growing up and very much so, like, I don't know if it's a cultural thing, but in a Jamaican household, you just learn to be risk averse. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, just stick to what's gonna work for you. Like, don't deviate, play the safe route. It's very rare that, you know, you'll have the support to be like, do this and do that. So, you know, I think that's a part of it too, is also getting that support from home to be like, hey, you know, try this out. We see you have skills in doing this, do that. So not to pin the blame on anyone. It's like, essentially, as an adult, you make your own mind. You actually choose to do what you want to do. But it's just like, you know, when you're young, especially like in your 20s, take them chances. You know what I mean? Because it's like, you know, that period, depending on your support system, you can really change a lot for your life. You can, you know, go forward. You have a lot of time to recover. So it's just like, for our young folks out there, 35 and under, take them chances. Even if you're 35 and up, still take them chances. You never know what might happen.
Invest early. It's important.
Or just invest now, right? You know,
invest right now. That's what I mean.
Right? Like there's always, there's always, and it doesn't have to be. Obviously, we don't give financial advice. I want to make sure we throw that disclaimer out there. I don't want nobody trying to come for us saying that we told them to invest all their life savings in cryptocurrency. But, you know, obviously, you know, be smart about it. But yeah, there's always, and it doesn't even have to be invest in something, right? Learn the language, do whatever you wanted to do, right? We all have time to figure things out, right? And take those
facts. Because if you didn't know, OnlyFans is shutting down sexual content come October. So you don't have to find another hustle. Yes.
Nudity still allowed.
D-Black, you didn't even get started, man.
I didn't even get a chance.
Well, you got until October, so.
I mean, I think you can still show some. You can still show nudity is still allowed. You can't do any
until October. October is when it's shutting down. October is when they're making the
No,
clean.
I think you can't do any
You can still show nude photos.
You can still show nude,
but it's not
photos.
Sexual acts.
Yeah, no sexual acts.
Oh,
yeah. So you can still make your money.
Oh wow, they're gonna shoot
it's just not
business model in the foot, huh?
They just kind of mixed up the game a little bit, make it more.
Well,
okay, I guess.
Very interesting.
According to the statements I read, OnlyFans is trying to get a $1 billion valuation, and I'm guessing all the investors must be on the GOP or conservative. So it's just like they're trying to strip all sexual content completely, and I'm like, yo, you're messing with a lot of people's bread right now. So it's just like, especially during COVID, where some people probably made a change and was like, you know what, I could make like a stack,
off this OnlyFans.
Well, no, I actually know a girl. She told us that she made $80K.
Yeah,
just part time doing it last year. I was like,
yeah, they'll move to other platforms if anything. I understand that many vids is trying to very quickly change their business model to try to take advantage of that. So there'll still be places to go for people if you're interested in that content.
That sounds like an opening there, fellas. You might want to make the Jerk Jaloff OnlyFans page. You know what I mean? Take all types of content.
My God. Only Jello. Jello has to be involved in everything.
Well, you know, Glenn is gonna be the front. It's gonna be the front page of our.
That's what I'm saying. Why would it be
him and his best marina?
Glenn's like, I got this. I got all of us.
all
in one.
Gold and green.
We got the gnomes. We got green Jello, the gnomes, and mesh marinas. Are we gonna have a gnome with a mesh marina on?
You got to.
You got to, man. You know what I mean? Like, I'll get that stack and I'll fly y'all out, like Dre said, to do the pod. I made this OnlyFans Jerk Jaloff style. You know what I mean?
Hey. Yeah. I mean, like, to be real though, Kevin Samuel did call this though. Kevin Samuel called OnlyFans was gonna like shut some stuff down. It's kind of funny how
that's gonna literally change the game. So that's crazy.
Yeah, there'll be somebody else who'll figure it out.
Anyways, we could go into the next topic.
Take chances, y'all. OnlyFans is shutting down. You got to find another way to make that money. So let's get into the podcast piece now. I know that's something that D Black actually chimed in on. So, I threw some stuff in there for y'all to feed off of. Like, some people probably wondering, like, yo, why do we take a hiatus? You know what I mean? Why do you guys run 10 episodes and then take off for like 2 weeks and do another 10 episodes? Some people probably don't know that we actually record like 2 episodes in one day. So it's like, sometimes you might even hear something that was a current event as of that day, but when the episode actually releases, it's probably like no longer current. So I just wanted to like hear from you guys, like, just for the people that, considering that OnlyFans is now shutting down, people might go towards podcasting now, right? Like, as far as I know, I don't think there are some sexual podcasts out there, right?
ASMRs, bro. ASMRs is going to boom. It's going to boom.
Of course.
So that's like half the effort, right? I don't have to show any skin. I could just,
make sounds.
Yeah,
Didn't we already have this episode?
Yeah, we did. We did. Oh my God!
This is like, as a group, it seems like we're not going to fare that well.
So I will not be moaning on the mic.
I say we ground that plane almost immediately.
It's worth trying.
Well, you shut it down, Chunky. Remember you and Dre? Like, no.
You're like, yes, I like that.
If you want to start your own podcast, I'll help you set it all up. You'll get all my support. I just will not be lending my voice the effort. Sorry. I'm not moaning.
What is like, just in case y'all misunderstand, I am not going to.
Like, no, my mama listening.
Bitch Dre is the only one who needs to hear me moaning. You feel me?
Oh man.
What do you guys think? I'll start off with D. Like, so far, how has podding been working for you so far? What are your overall thoughts on how we run things? Like, what if you could drop a gem for anyone out there trying to start a pod? What would you say?
I think the main thing is just like, just try not to lose the love of it. There's a lot more that goes into it than you think. Everybody kind of just hops on and be like, hey, let's make a podcast, let's talk about some stuff and, put it on air. But I mean, there's a lot of whole production, quality, social media piece, contracts and budgets and vendors. And so, it's so many pieces. I mean, I'm not saying that you have to have the most like fancy mics and the highest tech to do so, or the most like the most social acumen, because I do not. I'm very disconnected on the social media piece. But I think it's important to have an idea of what's really going to go into it. And I guess and have a vision of what kind of content you're looking to make, because that's really going to help shape the vision of what you're going to do.
That. I guess I'll go to Dre on this next one as well. What are some of your takeaways, your gems, things probably not to be too concerned about, maybe some myths about running a podcast you'd like to clear up?
I think probably the biggest thing whenever someone does come to me, saying that they want to do a podcast, is really just asking them questions. Are you going to be willing to do this on a consistent basis? Why are you doing this? If you're doing it by yourself, it's, probably going to be easier in some respects, but if you're doing it with other people, like, how do you have some of those tough, conversations when one person wants to do one thing and maybe you're not on the same agreement, or just, that whole, when you do it with other people, there's a whole other dynamic than if you're doing it by yourself. So just really being kind of honest with yourself on like why you want to do it, right? If you're wanting to do it so that you could become rich and famous and all that, that is probably not the right, this probably isn't the right avenue to jump into right away.
It's a quick out.
Yeah. This isn't something, at least from what I understand, that most people who kind of make it, basically have a lot of episodes in the can. They kind of learn their voice, learn, what their show is going to be about. So I guess just really kind of go into it prepared and really be honest with yourself on why you want to do it. Would probably be the biggest, I guess, piece of advice I would have. And if you're doing it with other people, like just make sure that you're obviously respectful about it, but you really kind of make sure that you have that room to kind of have open discussions about things that may pop up. Try to nip things in the bud before they become a really big issue. I think it's another big thing. I know there's a bunch of really big public podcasts who've broken up. Who probably should have had conversations. Yeah, Joe Budden podcast, the even on the other side, that Called Me Daddy podcast. I don't know if you guys heard about that one, but just kind of a lot of drama with that stuff, and probably could have been resolved with like conversations early on, right? When someone wasn't happy about something, to just speak up and voice a concern instead of like letting it sit and then it become like a really big thing, and then next thing you know, you're kind of ending the podcast in a really terrible way. So. Gems. All right. Francis, anything you want to add on this as well?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm just thinking, is podcast fun? Yes. Is podcast easy? No. So I think you have to be willing to put in the work that it takes to get a good quality work out there. And really, like, I mean, I wish it was one of those that you could just hop on and talk and let it go, but there's so much more that goes into it, like everybody already mentioned already. So, I mean, just know your why and be willing to be consistent and be willing to like put a lot of content out there that may not get a lot of views or likes or shares. And you have to be okay with that. And just know that consistency over time always wins. So that's the biggest lesson, I would say.
I think we lost chunks. But I would just say, like, on my end, like, definitely the team aspect. If you're not used to working in teams, like, I know, like, college was probably the worst experience in working in teams, right? Like, you always had, like, some people that just did nothing at all and things like that. So, like, to the point, knowing who you're working with is very essential. Kind of making sure everybody has that same drive to reach the same goals, essential as well. And, like, don't always think that your family and friends are always the first one that's going to want to hop on, right? Like, actually ask them, like, yo, there's something that you really want to do, why, the why part, and what time can you actually commit to it? Because at the end of the day, it's like kind of like making the podcast that works for you. And if you're able to do that consistently, then possibility you could see some success out there. But I know, like, one of our biggest hangups was how long should we run our podcast?
Oh my God.
Don't start that conversation.
Like, the time piece. Let's get real. Let's spill some tea. Like, the time aspect of running a pod. And all I gotta say now is, if you're flying Spirit, you got time, right? Because every Spirit flight that I've heard go out this week has been delayed by 3, 4, 6 hours. You know what I mean? If you're in the tri-state, you got time because Tropical Storm Henry is canceling everybody's plans right now. It's been raining since yesterday, and I'm pretty sure my basement's gonna get flooded soon. So I gotta check out that actually. So it's like real talk. You don't want your podcast to be too long. You know what I mean? But don't worry about the time. People won't listen. They're gonna listen at the end of the day. Just focus on your content. That's my opinion. But let's
just add on. Just add on.
Glenn, fuck that, Glenn.
Wow.
And just to add on.
Now it's my turn. Now it's my turn to beat up on Francis too, man.
What? Beat up on
Glenn
Francis?
got it on it. Chunky got it on it. It's my turn, man.
Hold up. Just to add on to what Selassie
you know you
was
don't
saying.
want none of these, bro. Stop it.
Just to add on to what Selassie was saying, make sure that you make what you enjoy. Because I know he's making a joke about time and all that. But I think the most important part is making sure that you enjoy what you're doing. If you're doing it for clout chasing or any of that, that's an L. Oh, damn. Why you do them like that, bro?
We'll talk about them later.
Yeah, man. I still got love for them boys. But if you're doing it for the clout, you setting yourself up for failure. So make sure you fully enjoy what you're doing. Make sure it works with what you within the scope of what you're capable of doing, and you're gonna be successful. Like Kanye West said, you know what I mean? Speak it into existence.
Yes, sir. I just have to respond back to Glenn, you know, and Dre, don't even start.
Man, we can
as
we
one
can
of the members actually advocate for lesser time. What is what I'll say? I'll say just make it work for you, but just be considerate of time does matter. I'll leave it at that.
Wait, so we got Chunks back too. We didn't even get his input for the peoples too.
I'll keep it cool like that.
I missed everything. First things first, make sure you have a good internet connection. I am on my second provider. It is, and it's not fun.
McDonald's Wi-Fi over there?
I wish. I think McDonald's Wi-Fi would be better than what I got right now.
Oh my god!
I'm putting out all this money for nothing.
Oh my gosh.
I guess the angriest black man fits because I'm like the most straightforward in the group. Like, make sure you get yourself someone that like holds to, and it's sometimes an asshole to put people on a straight and narrow. It's not an easy job. At times I feel bad, not really, but I know I ruffle a lot of feathers. But my thing is just like, you have Glenn, who's the person that organizes everything. Me, I just try to keep everyone accountable in the sense that someone does something, I just call it out immediately. I don't have that that corporate, like, let me pitch this to you. It's just like, nah, you fucking up. Yeah. No, I wouldn't say diplomatic, but like amongst friends, it's just like, fuck that. Like, I don't need to like figure out a way to tell you. Like, I might as well be direct because I respect your time and what you're putting into it. So I'm like, hey, next time, try a little bit softer. It's like, nah, like everyone's great on this podcast. Right. And I expect the same thing back, which has happened. We were in a group chat. Like I said, something stupid. I was like, yeah, that was a dumbass statement. Like, I was not paying attention. And I was just like, I need to shut up and like sit down. But I think that's needed to keep us together.
It's all good. Good points.
Struggling.
All right, so let's get into some of my picks. I said today we're going to keep it open forum barbershop talk. I picked out a couple things. I dig deep into these rabbit holes sometime on YouTube, on Instagram. Don't ever check my archives. You're going to find some crazy stuff on there. So it's just like, I picked a couple things that I saw online. I just wanted to hear from your guys, your perspectives on it. Maybe some of y'all checked the links out, some of y'all didn't. I'm notorious for flooding the chat with links, with stupid, silly things. So let's get into the first thing, and that's the Hood Olympics, the Crate Challenge. Now, it is sweeping. It's probably worse than Corona at this point, the way that it's just infiltrating all the hoods right now, all over the United States. If you don't know what it is, basically, stacks or crates are like assembled in like an ascending and descending order. So it's kind of like a pyramid of crates that you have to traverse, climb, and get to the other end. So what happens is a lot of times, if you ever tried stepping on a stacked crate, it's like kind of like walking on stilts. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like everyone's going timber. Everybody's breaking backs. Everybody's going to the ICU. And I mean, honestly, it's probably more entertaining than the actual Olympics that we had in Tokyo, in my opinion. So I just kind of want to get y'all take on it. Has the Hood Olympics come to your area yet? And the Crate Challenge, and like, what's y'all thoughts on this? Is this like the black jackassery going on right now? Or like, I know D's probably catching up right now. Like, all right, what
I dropped a link for D Black to take to. I sent him a Cowboys themed one. So shout out to all the football Cowboys fans or Cowboys haters. You will enjoy that video. But for me, I have enjoyed this way too much. I feel like I've seen every variation of this challenge. Glenn, I saw one that was kind of near and dear to your heart. A dude rolled a joint as he went up and over the
legend.
over the
supposedly
over the thing.
He's from Irvington. Supposedly, I read in the comments that his name is White Mike, and he's from Irvington. And I'm like, all right, Irvington, man, stand up, let's go. We, whoever said men can't multitask, y'all capping. You know what I mean?
He did go to that.
I've watched too much videos. I've listened to all the conspiracy theories. Someone joked and said that the government dropped off crates all over every hood in America to keep us distracted. So don't be distracted out there, my peoples. But I've enjoyed this entirely way too much. I mean, it's one of those things where I think people are. I mean, no one has gotten seriously hurt yet. And it just seems to all be in good fun. It looks like people are actually like betting on people. Like if you make it across, you could get money. I saw one where a beautiful sister made it all the way through. She asked everyone for her money. She had a very large handful of dollars in her hand because she successfully made it over the carts. I love it. I know that there's some people who probably the respectability politic people, which I know we'll talk about later, are not enjoying Black people having fun on the internet. It looks to be innocent right now. Hopefully no one gets seriously injured, but I'm here for it, man. I'm all here for the Hood Olympics. I can't wait to see what event is next. I'm trying to guess on who on the panel would do the best on this one. And I want to say probably Glenn with the rubber waistline would probably make it across. I know I would fall immediately. I think Chunky would probably maybe I would fall first, but I would feel Chunky would probably be next on the list. But I'm here for it. I love it.
Nah,
That's not a challenge. What is that?
Challenge.
I am not for it, bro. I'm not for it. It's so dumb.
Why can't they have fun? Why can't they have fun?
Bro, dude, that's a dangerous fun, bro. It's a dangerous game, bro. Like people fall real hard, bro.
Yo, my man
and you
almost
said,
died on that
you
video.
You said nobody has gotten hurt yet.
Yeah,
seriously got hurt. Yeah, that we know of, bro. Like,
I'm not no crimes.
Yo, if I see anybody in my hood with that, oh, I swear to God, I'll almost try to smack some sense into them. Like, what you doing? I'll call your mama real quick.
Let the people have fun. They all look to be adults. They are allowed to do whatever they want to do out here, right?
They can, but it's like people were like doing the gasoline on their body and trying to hop in the shower. Like it's the same. It's the same.
Why y'all here being the fun police, man?
It's the same round.
Wait, is there an award for this?
No, they're betting cash. So like normally they'll say like, oh, first person to make it across, I'll give them $10. I'll do this. I'll do whatever. So
actually, Boozy just I saw a post today that he said whoever gets it across, it will give him $1,000.
Has anybody ever?
Yeah, I was like,
that lady that Dre was speaking about made a stack supposedly. So $1,000. Give me $1,000. So I'm just like, give her $1,000.
I'll try to find that version for you, D-Boy. I know you don't frequent. You don't waste as much time as I do on the internet, but I'll get you that link.
I'll say, Mama, you will never catch me on that, so don't worry about me.
Apparently, I'm missing some quality content right here. That's crazy.
Elevating the Black standard day by day. You never know.
Man, we're not a monolith, man. I feel like it was white people who do stupid stuff on the internet. Why is this any different, man? We gotta
so we competing for who do the
it's not like we compete. We're not competing, but I just don't understand why we gotta hold ourselves to a higher standard than white people, right? If white people start doing it, the white community isn't coming together and it's like, oh man, we're looking bad out here. Like they just look at it as those idiots are doing it, right?
Okay. All I gotta say is if you decide to do it, just make sure you have insurance, okay?
Yeah, health insurance, definitely. Because you definitely go into I've seen some hip drops I've seen some backdrops. Like, yo, I lift a weight wrong and my back hurts. That's immediate. That's all week. My back is hurting. So I can only imagine dropping almost 7 feet from a crate. You know, half of these people don't even look like, you know, they're not going to the gym. They probably not eating very well. You know, one guy's rolling up as he's going up and down. You know what I mean? Which was quite amazing, I must say. And that was my favorite one. But it's just like, yo, you know, I guess like not to be the fun police, but it's kind of expected that. Well, I think the difference between Black people doing it and white people doing it is just like, you don't expect white people, you know, Black people, we expect white people to do that type of stuff. But like when, for instance, when Jackass came out, it was kind of like, oh shit, you know, it was funny. I would never do it. Like I remember even telling D, like, yo, at 13, I stopped taking risks. The moment I realized that go back, I was like, oh, skateboarding's out, rollerblading's out, all that shit is out.
Is that why you didn't play basketball? It's not that bad.
Sports, all that. Like, I mean, I probably did some of the roughest sports in high school, honestly. But it was like, you know, I didn't play ball, but I did wrestle. You know, I did amateur boxing. I did jujitsu, you know, growing up, and I always overdo things. I always got injured. But it was just like, you know, I don't know, like things like that. I just never wanted to break anything. You know what I mean? And falling from the crates, I'm like, but this, I think it's always expected that Black people did these kind of stupid shit. But to actually see it, it was kind of like, oh, you know, it's always going to get elevated a little bit more because it's brown people. You know what I mean? But yeah, I feel you, Dre. We should have the liberty to do stupid shit too.
Yeah, man. Remember when people doing parkour? Remember people doing parkour all over the place? I was one of those people doing
parkour, so I'm like, okay. My question is, and y'all gonna hate me for this, but what are the criteria for these events? Like, does it have to be a certain height? Like, what is the expectation?
It looks like the center one is like, it looks like it's like 7 crates high. I gotta zoom in a little bit close, but it looks like some of these are like pretty high off the ground.
Doesn't feel like a sanctioned event to me.
I'm straight, man.
Nah, it's all different all over. Some people are stacking on grass. Some people are stacking on concrete. Some people are.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I got plans about their well-being, bro. I swear. That's why I'm like, why? Like, it makes no sense.
I'm all for making this Olympic sport next
Dre,
Olympics, man. Let's do it, man.
Are you gonna do it? Oh, so you're doing it?
I'm not gonna do it. No.
Oh, yeah, why
I don't do that kind of stuff, man.
Why not?
Because I'm old, man. I'm old and washed, man. I fall 2 crates high. I'm in trouble, man.
Exactly.
You know what this reminds me of?
Same applies to them too. Go ahead.
You know what this reminds me of? Oh man, I'm about to put somebody on black. But back, I don't know how long ago this was, but back a few years, I think it was Hot 97. They used to do that slap contest, and you would take turns slapping the crap out of each other for money. But they still do it?
Well, it's a sport. There's an official one now. There's an official one now.
Oh my god!
Bodybuild dudes doing it. It's a thing now. It's a sport.
Yeah. So that's what it makes me think of. I'm like, why would you do this to yourself? I mean, I guess you got to eat somehow.
Talking about sport, one thing I saw on ESPN of all places was spitting. So they see how who could spit the farthest. I was like, this is a sport now? Disgusting. I know, that's what I said. On ESPN, bro. Like, what? Come on.
We got to wonder who made that sport.
At least it's safe. Nobody's going to break a leg, though. Come on.
I mean, some of them falls are hilarious, though. I just got to give him that. But, yeah.
Oh, we ain't catching me doing that one, bro. Sorry.
Seriously. So let's talk about the Olympics. And we know a major event just went down the other day, a couple days ago, with Sha'Carri Richardson representing the United States. You know, and she ran 100 meters against some of the Olympic finalists. And, you know, she finished at last. You know what I mean?
This is Jamaican. This is sanctioned Jamaican propaganda, and I'm why we talk about this, man? You just wanna flex on how you guys are great at short distance running.
You know, I got the Jamaican shirt on. You know, it's like, you know, I'm probably the slowest Jamaican ever, right? I ain't gonna front. If you want to pride, race me. You know what I mean? You can see.
Race me. Come after me.
all them damn Jamaicans ain't fast.
Oh gosh,
right. My thing is, my question to this is similar to the Hood Olympics challenge. Why? My thing is like, yo, in her qualifying, she ran an 11. You know what I mean? If she wanted to know if she could beat anyone, all she had to do, which I don't think she was up for. I think she just did it because she was like, yo, you know what? They're giving me a chance, whatever. All she had to do was run 100 meters and see if she could beat anyone's time. And that's it. But then to go up there, have this whole event, and then drop out of the 200, just to come in last, like not even like top 4 or 5. I love Sha'Carri, but I think it was like a lose-lose situation for her, yo. Real talk.
It was not a good look, man. I don't know. I mean, I was like, girl, you've been partying the last month, huh?
I mean,
all that fame, she did get famous real quick.
I mean, the thing is, I'm always here for the jokes, so I did get a lot of laughs out of all the jokes. People, saying that she shouldn't have been smoking weed, and saying that she wasn't prepared and stuff like that. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe she thought she had it, Glenn. I mean, I don't know. For me, I feel like, it's kind of embarrassing for her, but I'm sure she didn't think she was going to get 9th place. I'm sure she probably thought that she still had it. And I mean, she had kind of she was already kind of way behind the ball, right? A lot of those women were fresh off the Olympics, kind of,
ready.
So, it sucks that she didn't place higher. I mean, I really liked her story and hearing all that stuff about it, but she'll be fine, right? She's an athlete. I feel like she'll figure it out. But but just with the nature of the internet, you're gonna get these jokes, right? So you're gonna get you're gonna get people making fun of you, or you're gonna get people kind of enjoying that you didn't win or whatever. But didn't the Jamaican woman, didn't she break a record? Or
Elaine straight broke her own time, her own best time.
Those 3 girls are beasts.
I feel like that should be the biggest story, right? Like that woman broke a record. Like let's obviously we're going to talk about Sha'Carri because she was big name and whatever, but like let's spend more time on Elaine. What was her last name? I just want to make sure I'm saying her name.
Elaine Thompson. Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's some Jamaican names I can't even.
Shout out to Elaine.
Yeah, man, she did her thing, broke her own personal time, and then broke actually the world record for women's, I think. Well, no, Flojo still holds the fastest time, but I think she has the second fastest time now, and that's just crazy. She thanks Sha'Carri for that opportunity. Thank you, Sha'Carri. You know what I mean?
I mean, to be fair, I just want to mention that I am rooting for Sha'Carri. I'm rooting for her. I know she's gonna bounce back. I think it's funny because I was like, oh, she probably was busy partying. She got famous hanging out with Drake or something. But but real talk though, I'm rooting for her. I think she will come back stronger.
Yeah. And 11 seconds is not that's still a very fast time. None of us is running even close. Yeah. None of us is running anywhere near close to 11 seconds.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
You're not.
Don't do that.
Don't
do that.
Oh, you
know.
Blacks.
Oh, cuz you have faith in yourself like that.
Wait, we're talking about now. We talking about now.
You added in you, cuz?
In my prime, okay?
You added in you?
They didn't call me running for no reason, okay?
You was running 11-second 100 meters?
I don't know what I was running, but I was running fast.
Okay, cool.
Don't sleep on the power of Jollof now. Don't sleep.
Hey, that part.
Oh my God. Oh, since you mentioned the Olympics, I did something else that I took. Something really funny. Anybody else see the 4x4 relay mixed?
Oh, okay. Well, Nigeria put a woman out there. Yeah, I saw that.
Oh my gosh, Nigeria always got to do some craziness.
Wait, what happened?
They put a woman on their last leg.
So basically, it was a mixed relay, men and women, and everybody else was like, okay, third leg, we're gonna put the women, and then close it out with the men. Nigeria thought they were slick. And was like, okay, on the last leg, we're gonna have a woman. Mind you, she's fast. She is lightning in a bottle, okay? But they put a dude on the third leg with the women. Of course, he was like, 60 yards ahead of them. He was out. He was gone. And he was hauling ass too. He was like, oh my gosh, I'm burning these lemons. I'm gonna show them something. He was gone, right? And then when it came down to passing the baton to the Nigerian woman, about a good 60, 70 yards ahead, I was like, okay, Nigeria might actually win this. Is this crazy? No. No. She came dead last. US passed her. Switzerland passed her. I mean, even little Tink Tink passed her.
Look, man, I respect the gamble,
bro.
man. I respect the gamble, man. You go, maybe you take the risk, right? You know, that could have worked out, man. I respect the risk, man.
I'm just saying,
no.
Bet it all, man. I kind of respect that. It seems like it was a stupid move now, but it could work, man.
I'm just saying, female fast is very different from male fast. I mean, it is what it is.
Sure. The men are just faster than women. When it comes to that, like Olympic professional level, they're just gonna be faster. Like, I mean, I feel like if I'm in the Olympics, I'm gonna do what everybody else is doing. You know what I mean? Like, if I know I'm the only team running a woman on my last leg, I'm gonna be like, all right, maybe we gotta switch it up a little bit, because it's like, nah, this might not work. This might look bad for us. But you know, I mean, the mixed relays for everyone was a little trash, honestly. I mean, I think America was disqualified in one of the mixed relays, actually.
Well, it was the same,
The late baton pass.
That same one, yeah. But what happened was, it was just a late baton pass. That anchor was a little bit of a, he's a little bit of a jerk about it, though.
Exactly. The way they like interrogated them about it, like, you sure?
Like literally right after.
Let's look at the footage. What you mean you didn't know it was late? Did you
look at it and tell me
that's the thing.
Trash?
That's the thing I always feel bad about for athletes. Like, imagine if, like, just to kind of personalize it, imagine if, like, you messed up really bad at your job and, like, a whole film crew is, like, asking you about, like, how bad you fucked up and, like, why did you make that mistake? And it's like, I feel so bad in athletes in those moments. I always think back to, like, I always just try to personalize it, like, empathize with them. And I'm like, I can only imagine how much it must suck to, like, on the highest level, right? You've trained for years to do this thing. You fail at it, or right, you don't perform as well. And then you have to answer questions from people who could never even do what you're doing. I just could only imagine how awful that would feel.
And to second that, I know probably one of the greatest memes I saw is, what if they just use regular people to run the Olympics instead? You know what I mean? Like, just take regular, ordinary folk. Like, guess what? You've been drafted for the Olympics. Suit up.
That would be fire. That would be fire. That'd be a cool way to, like, really test what countries are better at, right? Just to say, pick up random people off the street.
Really?
I
really?
Glenn, we started our regular people Olympics. Let's do it, man. Let's start our own regular people.
Well, I mean, there has to be some kind of parameters, though. Like,
over 30 like, only. Over 30 only. Over 30.
Yeah, is there like any?
Olympics for that?
Is there weight level like restrictions, or like is there like weight classes or what?
You can imagine that you on the high beams, though.
You can't compare like.
Trashy would be on the high beams just so he can wear that tights. Just so he can wear the tights. He wouldn't even want to be on the high beams.
I want the bikini though.
Extra skinny.
I saw those videos. I saw those videos. All those women thirsting after all the men in their track uniforms. My timeline was filled with women kind of gawking at the men in those tight
that eggplant.
Oh wow!
So, there was a whole Reddit page. This will be my last point on this, though. There was a whole Reddit page dedicated to women in the Olympics, like just basically taking like pictures and like video snippets from like the gymnastics routine and all that. It was just like, it was to the point where even Vice News wrote about it. They were like, yo, there's a whole Reddit page dedicated to some of this perverse page about this objectifying women in the Olympics. And I think it was like Germany, the gymnasts for Germany wore like full body suits. They were like, nah, we're not wearing the bikinis this year. Full body suits. And it was
do you think there should be a change to attire at all because of that? Or what's your take on it?
I mean, I think so. Yeah, if women are feeling objectified, they should have a choice. But I feel like honestly, people would stop watching the Olympics to a certain extent. Like,
you think they're watching?
I think men like I think really it's a lot of men that are watching the Olympics, especially gymnastics and beach volleyball. And if it came down to women were wearing just like straight up full body suits, viewership would decline. But honestly, I think it's more important to protect people how they feel and what they're doing out there. Like focus on the athleticism, not on cheeks and all that other stuff. Honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Yeah.
But it is nice.
I mean, you have valid.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like,
Yeah,
I don't watch a lot of. I'm a married man, but
I have a friend who kept on asking in the group chat. This is a different group chat. Just I'm making sure I'm not incriminating anybody. In a different group chat, one of my friends kept on asking about like when was the next like Brazilian volleyball match, and I'm like, bro, come on,
why has
man.
to be Brazil? I get it.
Brazil boom boom. Y'all remember that? Brazil boom.
Oh my God!
Luckily, we all clowned him. He was just sounding way too thirsty. But yeah, I guess funny. That's true.
You know, it's better than going to OnlyFans. You know, it's the Brazil boom boom. You know, you can't.
You know what? I'm not gonna lie though. That's something Glenn was sent to the group though.
You know, I like to eat off my guys. Make sure they're healthy. You know what I
mean? just in case Misfit Honey is listening, that was not Glenn who sent that. That was not.
That was a joke.
That was not.
Exactly.
Yes, that was not Glenn. I was joking.
So I guess let's jump to the next one then. Speaking of tomfoolery, there was a video on YouTube by the Crimson Cure. And it's a sister named Kendra based out of the South Side of Chicago. And anybody knows anything about the South Side of Chicago, it's just not the best place on earth to be. You know, I mean, pretty much, I'm pretty sure it's the epicenter of the Olympics at this point. But she made a video, and I think the headline of it was Black culture is trash. So I dropped the video to the fellas here, you know, to say, you know, what do you guys think about her statement? You know what I mean? I even like deemed her, she considers herself a red pill woman. And I know that's like a term that's being thrown out there a lot these days, particularly for the fellas, you know, as far as their views towards women and the value of women and all that other nonsense. But, you know, she considers herself a red pill woman. I think one of the lines she dropped was the reason why Black culture today, not history, but Black culture today is trash is because, you know, we like to uphold symbolic things and not things of value. And she went on this kind of diatribe about the Bud Billiken parade, which is something that takes place in South Side of Chicago, which I've never heard of because I'm not from there, but I kind of wanted to get your guys' take on it. I mean, for what I heard earlier, there were some gems dropped and there were some things that were just like, you know, probably a little bit of hate-filled comments towards, you know, our own self. So what do you guys take on that? I'll start off with Dre.
Yeah, man. First, I before this podcast started, I told Glenn that he owes me 22 minutes and 30 seconds of my life that I lost from watching this entire video. I wanted to be prepared, but I mean, the sister from the video, obviously she's entitled to her own opinion. I couldn't disagree with her more, just saying that the current Black culture today is trashy. I mean, I really take issue with kind of the whole like respectability politics that people do, the whole pick your pants up, you know, generation of people who say those things. I mean, obviously there are some things, if we're lumping everything into Black culture, obviously there's certain things that maybe we're not proud of, but I don't know if these are necessarily things that are unique to our culture that aren't unique to other cultures, right? We're not the only people who are killing people in this country, right? You know, it's one of those things where white people also kill each other, right? You know, so it's just, but some of the comments that she made, I mean, our culture is not, you know, why do so many people want to dress like us? Why do so many people want to eat the food that we do, talk the way we do, listen to the music that we do, talk, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things where I guess you can look at it that way. And obviously everyone is kind of, is open to their own opinion. But just to kind of immediately lump our culture into it being trashy, I just think is wrong. And that's the one thing, I know we talked about this earlier, that I always struggle with is like, you know, I feel like sometimes we're like way harder on our culture than like any other culture is in the United States. You know, there isn't a white culture. There's not white people kind of talking about issues that are plaguing the white community. You know, it's always just like, oh, that crime is happening in that area and that's it. It's not like, oh, this is a white on white. I've never heard the term white on white crime. Never heard that term before in my life. And you know, when you look at the data, people who live in the same area are more likely to kind of commit crimes with who live with them, right? So, you know, yes, it's maybe more likely that a white person commits a crime against another white person, and it's also, you know, more common that a Black person commits a crime, you know, with someone who's in their community who maybe also is Black. So that's the only thing with those videos. I was definitely kind of stopping the video and yelling and whatever. So maybe she proved her point, right? She could have been trolling the whole video just to get views. She got it from me. But I always just kind of take issue with the whole like respectability politic like thing. I don't know. I love our culture. I love all those things that she was kind of complaining about with twerking and those type of things.
I mean, I don't know. I don't feel like everything she said was wrong. I do agree. I don't think how the Black culture is trash. I mean, I think we have the same problem everybody else do. I think some part of our culture is trash, but the culture as an entirety is not trash. You know, but I mean, I think we do glorify the bad apple sometimes, though, and I think we could do a better job, you know, elevating the good men and women in our community, so we can make those people more role models for our kids, you know, so we can build them up to be, you know, the image that we kind of perceive or that we see for ourselves as a community. So, and I think that's pretty much where she's coming from. I think she has a high standard for us as a Black community, and how she wants us to carry ourselves. And she kind of sharing that information to the group, right? And putting it out in the community. Yeah. So I feel like what she said wasn't out of bound. I actually enjoyed watching the video, to be honest. You know, I thought it was a different perspective, but I don't think everything she said was right. But I see where she was coming from. And I think we just need to focus on our youth, make sure we invest into our youth, and just know like there's a larger world out there for them, right? So, and I think by elevating the people in our community, they actually are doing the good things, and I think we can shape the future a lot better to kind of like, at least, you know, I want us to be doing some smart stuff online, not doing crate challenge and breaking necks and arms and legs. That doesn't, like, for me, that's kind of like some of the dumb stuff we do that it's like, I think we can do a lot better, you know.
But for every crate challenge, I see the other thing where actually a bunch of Black men in California all were wearing suits walking down the street. It was a really cool thing. They were all dressed. But so to me, those things happen. You can see those things online. You can see examples of good thing happening, but I just think that sometimes people get too focused on negative, and there is that positive out there. You just need to look for it, right? Or you need to promote the good thing, right? To kind of maybe have less crate challenges appear. But that's the only thing, I guess, the only challenge I have to that is just if you want to see more positive things online, then you can. That's the way the algorithms work. The more people share things, that's how it shows more often.
Well,
right? So
okay,
share the things that you want to see.
Stop sharing those crazy videos with me.
I don't share them. I look at them.
In the chat.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't have to click onto it.
I don't like them and I don't retweet them. But I guess I am technically part of the challenge, the bad. But I see the good things too online. I think sometimes we assume that people aren't promoting the good, and I think people are. But I guess so, like the negativity kind of sells. So like when it gets to that viral stage, it's the negative stuff that we see. So like, and we could do a lot better. And I guess that from that perspective. Yeah, I want to hear what my cousin had to say.
That's the one thing that I think, I mean, you hit it on the head. First of all, I mean, I don't know if she truly believes that, but the fact, that statement, anytime you call a whole culture trash, that's clout chasing. Yeah. She did it for the clout. She knows that she's gonna get clicks. She knows she says it in a certain way, it's gonna trigger people gonna listen. It's kind of when, you know, people do any type of presentation or anything like that, and they try to give you a shock statement to get your attention. So, I mean, does she really stand by that and think that the entire culture, the entire, you know, ethnic group is trash? I think that that's a little bit of a stretch for me. And then secondly, like Dre was saying, ultimately, if you want people to listen to you, you have to start with some negative. You got to give people you got to be the anti-hero in order to get their attention. And I mean, that's what she was trying to do.
I kind of see it as she's just being honest. Like, not to cut you, but honestly, I call her Kendra Samuels because I see it as she's just being straight up honest, direct, forward, and even though it can be brash and maybe a little insensitive or very insensitive, it's direct forward. How many Kevin Samuels videos do we click on just because of, you know, the tagline of the video where we already know his approach is gonna be da 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 da. You know, at least he's promoting marriage, but you know he's gonna gun you down. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I think it's interesting though that you make a good point with that, because I don't even just being brash and direct is great, but I think as a society we like seeing people get held accountable, regardless of who it is, regardless of what it's for. We love seeing other people get held accountable, and it's very rare where you know, people are held accountable on the regular. I feel like now we're getting all this, you know, Kevin Samuels, Fresh Fit, and all these people that just want to point the finger and call people out and throw numbers and stuff like that. And we eat that stuff up because we love seeing it when people get called out, when they feel like when people are in a realm where they look like they're almost untouchable, and then we kind of approach them and call them out on their malarkey, for lack of a better word. You know, we love seeing that. So, I mean, I get what she was trying to do. I mean, obviously, you know, just to say an entire culture is trash, that's nonsense. But,
I know, like, one of the great questions she dropped is, you know, what exactly is Black culture? Who gave us Black culture? Who actually controls Black culture? And I think, you know, that was essentially one of the gems, considering a people that barely know their history. If you think about cultural, by definition, it's essentially, you know, the values, beliefs that a body of people follow and believe in, right? So it's kind of like, to me, I can speak to it personally, being, you know, Jamaican, being an immigrant Black, we were always kind of told things about Black Americans. We were told, oh, you know, Black Americans are lazy, you know, and, you know, we were told that Black Americans don't do this, they don't like to work hard. And imagine me as a Black person, you know, not knowing that I would suddenly come to America and be grouped along with these people as well. I'm trying to say, nah, you know, I'm Jamaican, I work hard, I got 10 jobs, you know what I mean? I'm the epitome of hard work.
Oh my God.
But it's like, you know, we even had that within ourselves, speaking it from a personal point of view. It's like my mom would find out I had friends. She was like, oh, you know, not to discredit them. It's just, you know, them adopting to the country, and, you know, it was always perpetuated. You know,
she don't want you to fall into the stereotype.
Exactly. Like, oh, where are your friends from? She always wanted me to have, you know, my parents were always more positive towards friends that were of the same background, because felt they embodied the same values.
Right.
And, you know, that's a part of our issue where I feel like, yeah, honestly, her point, we don't really control Black culture. It's just a bunch of stereotypes, a bunch of environmental issues, of environmental conditioning that's eventually been thrusted upon us. And the positive, like Dre said, isn't highlighted enough. But the stupid does sell, and it is going to be regurgitated more and more. And that's essentially what's expected, because think about Asians. What's the first thing you hear about Asian people? Oh, they work hard, they're smart, you know, they're overachievers. Yeah. You know what I mean? What's the first thing you hear about Black people? We either play ball really well, we entertain, we're great dancers.
Aggressive, angry.
So,
right.
To me, it's kind of like she's speaking to things, trying to make people more aware, and I don't fault her for it. I kind of co-sign the video. I don't agree that it's trash, but I agree we don't essentially know what our culture is.
I guess my biggest thing is I listened to a video like that. And again, I just want to say that although I disagree with the video, I always think that whoever, we live in America, anyone should be able to kind of express their opinions on stuff. Obviously, that's why platforms like YouTube are around. I guess whenever I hear videos like that, I guess I just never understand like what is it just leaves me with a bad taste in my mouth. Like what is supposed to be the outcome of saying this, right? That Black culture is trashy. Like what is the output of that? And I also have the issue that was saying that we don't kind of control I think we do kind of control the narrative. I think in our everyday lives, right? And the people that we're around, we have the ability to maybe impact those things, right? To me, the people that I work with, right, you know, see that I work hard, right? You know, hopefully they see me as an individual, but, you know, maybe they also are just seeing me as a Black person, right? You know, maybe I'm the only Black person that they kind of interact with, right? Maybe I have the ability to impart that that maybe some of those stereotypes are wrong, right? So I feel like we do have control over those in our everyday lives and actions. I don't agree that, just because there's a narrative of people going to jail or committing crimes, like I've never gone to jail, right? Hopefully I never go to jail, right? No one in my immediate circle has ever gone to jail. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things where I think sometimes when I just say we, I just mean just in general, we kind of sometimes make it seem like we don't have control over things. And I think we do have control over a lot. So to me, it's kind of one of those things where, yeah, we control the conversations, right, in our everyday lives, in whatever you do, right?
True. It's a good
Yeah,
point.
I mean, I do think we have a long journey and long fight ahead. I mean, like to your point, even though we are able to influence the people in our immediate circle, by even like in our workplace and stuff like that, people who are not educated enough, they would say, "Oh, you're one of the good ones," and they ask you like, "Why can the rest of them be like you?" Like it's like one of those dumb questions that I've gotten personally, like at work before. Is like I was like, "What?" No, it's like there's so many different factors that goes into it. Like my story is different from other people. Like our experiences is different, So like I won't, kind of question that to why are everybody like this, So to your point though, but I do agree though. I think we have to take those small wins, and over time, I think they do build to something greater, something beautiful.
Yeah, I kind of feel like because Black culture or just our origin is just very hard to understand, and maybe even a truth that a lot of people don't want to come to grips with, it's always a lot more convenient and easier to kind of just stick with those negative examples that you see around you and just say, hey, you know what? They're all like this. But I think part of understanding Black people, whether they've migrated to this country or been sold to this country, or just even worldwide, wherever people are, just, I guess, people that are just overall just generalized and disregarded, is just basically understanding that you have to come to grips with their truth and their origin. And not a lot of people want to do that. Not a lot of people want to say that, hey, you know what? These people were held back for several centuries. You know what I mean? These people were held back from opportunities. And I think that piece is what not a lot of people want to come to grips to. We just want to point the finger and say, hey, you know what? You do this. This is what you listen to. This is what you eat. That's the reason why you're not getting ahead. And it's just easy for people to fall back on that. So I think like one of the great points, and we'll wrap up with this, that Dre touched on was as far as, and we talked about this earlier as well, was just basically coming to informed decisions. And with like all of the podcasts out there, all of the media outlets out there, it's kind of very easy to kind of fall into these rabbit holes of just unilateral, one-sided bits of information. And now you're kind of just imposing your thoughts on everyone. So I kind of wanted Dre to kind of open that up a little bit and to say, especially because we're podcasters, like being held accountable and responsible for the kind of content that we push, to speak on, the importance of making informed decisions and being purposeful in what you do.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I know that we probably won't get into it too much, but obviously all the recent stuff in Afghanistan kind of had me kind of think about things, really differently. I would say that prior to this, I would say in general, I've been kind of a little ignorant to everything that's been going on, right? So I've been kind of, the government says that these people are evil and we need to do these things. And yeah, I agree, right? 9/11 happened and stuff like that. But, I think I was listening to a live with Lupe Fiasco and someone else, and they were just talking about kind of the history of Afghanistan, right? Just before Taliban was there, all that stuff. And I won't get into all of that, but the thing that it made me do was it made me just look up, right? More about, trying to learn about the other side, right? Learn about kind of what some of the people on the ground in Kabul were saying, right? How were some of the people feeling about the president who was in charge at the time and how they felt about him leaving the country, right? So it was just one of those things where I really kind of had like an internal check of myself to be like, you're only listening to what they're saying on ABC News or, whatever, then you're not getting a fully informed, you're not getting the full picture, right? It's not like a good versus evil or, black versus white thing, right? There's a lot of grades when it comes to these type of topics. So I would say just in general, one thing I would try to tell people to do as much as possible is, if you're interested, to try to like learn, don't only like listen to one side of, the stories, because it really will have you kind of in a situation where you're not understanding the full, and even in my little research, I don't think I still understand the full picture, but I think the biggest thing is just kind of making sure I'm doing that check of like understanding what is, what are all the different sources, what are all the people saying, not only what they're only saying from the American side, or from whatever news outlets I'm listening to.
Facts. I think Dee's about to say something.
No, I was just thinking that he just made some very valid points, because I think that we tend to listen to what we find the most agreeable, and just because we find it agreeable doesn't mean we should close our minds to other people's opinions. I mean, that's how you make yourself the most well-rounded individual. By truly listening to other people's opinions, and then making a fully educated decision on your own. Not allowing the media or anything to kind of make those decisions for you. So I mean, there are a lot of news outlets that I don't necessarily always agree with, but if you don't give them a listen, then how do you know how do you know that what they're saying isn't true? Versus somebody else is telling you, oh, that this other person is speaking farce. So I think that was a really good point.
Also just trying to like empathize with people too. Like, if I was living, like just trying to like envision like what it would be like if I was in Afghanistan, right? Like how would I feel if another country was in our country and doing things, right? Like we've never had to deal with that. Like as much as we don't want to wear masks, how would we feel about another country straight up like how would we feel about like another country just like showing up like to Washington DC and like setting up camp and doing stuff, right? Like I don't think we would be very happy about it, right? So again, I know it's like way more, I know there's way more it's more nuanced to it, so I don't want to oversimplify what's going on, but I'm just in my head just trying to, as much as possible, like empathize with how I would feel if I was in those people's situation, right? Like I don't know how I would feel, right? But I know I wouldn't be happy about it either way. So I just think it's one of those things where, at least for me, and I know this is where I get really called the dad of the podcast. I'm always like trying to be like, I'm almost over empathetic as I get older. It's like really trying to understand kind of what people are thinking or how they're feeling about certain things, just so that I feel like it just makes me a better person to me, right? To not just immediately cast judgment, to like think like, what would you do if you were in that situation, right? Like, like maybe you would do the same thing, right? Right or wrong.
Drake trying to be a good human being.
I'm trying.
Okay,
man.
Big Daddy.
I'm trying. But, I still have my faults. I still have my faults, but I just feel like it's just something that's really important. Important that we all do sometimes,
Yeah,
that was good.
I'm convinced like not enough Americans are actually watching the news, in my opinion. And I think that's a part of the issue as well. And it's just like, it's easy to kind of echo what somebody else says because it just sounds right? Simplified, it's easier, it's racy, it just sounds right? So a lot of people just fall into this echo chamber where they just repeat what somebody else said because it sounds good, but a lot of the times that may not even be factual. So that's why I love websites like Fact Check, where, even sometimes CNN will do it where they'll just say, okay, Trump said this, let's go ahead and just do the fact check, y'all, so y'all can get all the details. Especially coming from them last 4 years, it's kind of just like, it gave you even more reason to be more thorough in the sources that you take in, because a lot of that information you take in, you're going to end up projecting outwards and internalizing. And, it's going to really reflect on you as an individual, especially when you're working in corporate, you're working with people with different points of view. We have a democracy here where there's different points of view, different amendments. Everyone has their protections, constitutional rights, and it's just like, how do we find that middle ground? So definitely good points there. All right, with that said, for more content or to learn more about the podcast, feel free to check us out at Jerk Jollof Call It Pod on Instagram. Podcast episodes drop every Wednesday. Stay tuned for the outro coming up right after this to learn additional ways to reach us and send us your feedback. Be sure to like, share, follow, and or subscribe. Leave us a review, please. We actually want your feedback. We want to know what you guys think about the podcast. What do we do well? What could we do better? What would you guys like to hear? So definitely check us out on Instagram as well. Leave your review on your preferred streaming platform of choice. And until then, see you all again next week. Peace.
Peace.
Peace out.
Glad to be back. Let's go.
Season 3, let's do it.
Chunky, we miss you.
And that concludes today's episode, but that doesn't mean the conversation has to end. As a matter of fact, feel free to check us out at JJC Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter for our post-discussion question following the release of this episode. If you are a Black or minority business owner or professional that would like to be featured on the Rep Yours segment of our show, or a listener with some general feedback for the podcast panel, feel free to shoot us an email at jjcpod@gmail.com. As always, likes and comments are always appreciated. Be sure to subscribe or follow to be notified when the next episode releases. And until then, stay safe, stay blessed. Peace.